I ask for the truth on behalf of Kimberly Rose concerning relationship issues. She's in with an amazing man, but he's got adult children, as you would say, and Kimberly just wonders if they'll ever accept it. Well, what's this all about? Is this is the issue. We ask for guidance and insight into this matter in the name of truth, right conduct, peace, love and non-violence. Blessed be to the crow, the carrier of souls from darkness into light. And we cut the tarot, the crow's magic tarot there, and move the cards to the side. I'm going to deal out 3 cards in the position of the past, the present and the future. The past is the recent past. The present is, of course, now a period of time between roughly now 3 days behind, 3 days ahead, that sort of period, and then the immediate future, the period of time between now and this time next month, where the recent past, of course, is a period of time between now and this time last month. And we're going to pull that card out first and examine to see the truth of what this is all about, what energies are vibrating and so on. Let's pull out the first card then and let's commence. We'll just bring the card around just so you can see it, and then let's see what Crow has to say about what's been going on just recently. We flip the card nice and slowly, not reveal its energy too quickly there, just out of respect for spirit, out of respect for Bear Brother. In this particular case, Crow has sent Bear to bring victory in the form of the six of wands. Wands is to do with the element of fire. It's a minor arcana energy, a minor arcana card, and the minor arcana give you power to change things if it's a minor arcana energy. Major arcana energies is more permanent, and you can still choose what to do and how you go about it, but you can't do anything or change it usually. It's usually more of a permanent thing. But this, you have had power in the recent past. The 6 is analysis. I suppose Crowley calls it the Lord of Victory, and this focuses on the victor, the Sagittarian energy, the fiery energy there, the magic. 6 is analysis. 6, of course, any number between 4 and 9 is to do with the element of water, which is mental and moral qualities. Fire is to do with a spiritual essence, the number 1. You could call that mental and moral qualities of spiritual essence, or the watery part of fire, as if to bring the fire under control by quenching it, to make sure the flames stay at a sort of steady pace. But notice here the Bear Brother comes through the mist, as if there was something the other side, and the victory is there. Bear also represents boundaries. Maybe there have been unhealthy boundaries or something like that, and at a point where you've been in a situation where You've had to say I'll do anything for love, but I won't do that. I know what my boundaries are. I know I'll stand my ground here. If it's been with his offspring, his adult offspring there, kicking off, well, okay, you don't accept me, but nevertheless, we love each other. Your father and I love each other, and I don't care what. Yes, I do care what you say naturally, but nevertheless, I'm standing my ground here. I'm not going to board you walk out or do anything because you either don't like me or don't agree with what's going on. That's between you and your father. What this is all about. I do sort of sense that as though it's what's going on, the tension there, the lack of acceptance of you is more to do with lack of acceptance of his choice. And that's what it's all about, isn't it? They can, I suppose, pass it off and say, well, others don't like it and we get at you for it. But they're really getting at him. They're not showing much respect for their own father. If their own father has chosen to do that, even if they disagree with it, even if you are the wrong one for him, nevertheless, you are his choice. And they must respect his choice. And if they don't do that, then this is not about you, this is more about them, isn't it? The victor is there in the sense that I'm no pushover. You've made yourself clear. You said that I know what boundaries there are, and I'm not. I'll do anything, but I'm not going to do that. I do sense that though they may have tried to get you to do something like sleep on the sofa, or I'm not saying that sort of thing. I'm not saying it's that. I'm just saying it's that they're trying to make you compromise or do something that you don't want to do, like visiting but don't live here, or you can go in his car but you're not to drive it, or we don't want to be seen around you. I don't know what the hell it is. But it's something where you've said no. I know my boundaries, and I'm not going to rise to that. But again, as I've said, you're his choice. Yes, he's your choice, and it's affecting you because of that. It's usually trouble with the in-laws anyway, isn't it? Normally, but in this particular case, it's a bit more close to home because. There are adults there, and this, I suppose, is where the family unit maybe is not a perfect family unit. It's one that's just suddenly been adopted and adopted an immediate family, and you either like it or you lump it, and everybody gets on or they don't. But because you don't get on with somebody doesn't mean you don't get on with the person that you're in with, and all this. We know what it's about, or we know what it is. What it is, as pointed out, you are the victor. You are the one, in the sense of Bear has brought you victory of some sort or other, in the sense that for as dark as things are, you've come through it the other side because of what may have been said offensively. There may have been strong words that can't be repeated here, I suppose. There may have been strong words exchanged, but nevertheless you've come through it. Either because of strong love for him, or because you're a fool. Because love is blind. But then it's him that you're in love with, not his children. And you probably have said that to them. Luke, I'm in love with your father, not you. It's not that I don't care what you think, But yes, it does concern me what you think. But if you love your father like I love your father, then is there no what's it about? Is life short? Is life long enough that we can waste it on that, or is life too short? I don't know. What's going on now, though? This will give an indication. Spirit here, Crow, will now be sending a spirit here to say what's going on here. Let's see what energy we've got here. Another minor arcana card, still power to change things, in the case the King of Cups. A sense that this is him, the sage, the diviner. You admire him for his wisdom. Nevertheless, Taurus, Cancer and Virgo there. Cups is, as we know, linked to the element of water. The King is to do with the element of fire, so you could say the fiery part of water. Spiritual essence of mental and moral qualities. It's like as if it's gone sort of from the recent past to now, isn't it? Like mental and moral qualities of spiritual essence to spiritual essence of mental and moral qualities, as if it's manifest and gone full circle or something, in the sense that he is there with compassion. Usually the King is a sage, he is a diviner, he is a compassionate person. Usually a man in your life, and maybe if it's a court card, but of course it could simply symbolise that compassionate side in you. That the King's energy vibrates with you. Within you, it could be the sage and the mentor, but the sage and the diviner within you, the one who uses intuition and also, yes, with feeling and compassion, and is able to understand why people feel the way they do. And maybe that's the only reason you haven't walked out, or the only reason you may have not done something stupid, either physically or verbally or whatever. Maybe obviously there will have been strong words, but nevertheless, it's that fact that you understand why. That you've an adopted family, and you must show. I wanted to use the word tolerance. But to use that word would imply tolerating something, putting up with. And I suppose tolerance is the best word, isn't it? Really. With that. It's hard, isn't it? Taurus, the energy of Taurus there, of course. If he doesn't get what he wants, he can be like a raging bull. I get a sense as though maybe that Taurus energy is them, in the sense if they don't get what they want, in the sense of they want you out or whatever, they'll be like raging bulls and they'll get violent, or either physically or verbally, certainly, and they're moody, as you would say, and they have I don't know, I do sort of sense raised voices anyway, the least raised voices, but naturally in of course the tone of your question, and that would imply that anyway. You don't need to be a psychic or a mind reader to sort of work that one out. That's obvious. Logic would tell you that. I want to see though what's around the corner between now and this time next month. I suppose really you could, if, as I've always said before, if it's a negative energy, it can actually be positive in the sense of forewarned being forearmed. But of course beware of complacency if positive, But what actually is it? Let's see what Crow is going to send for you in the immediate future concerning this issue. We just flip the card nice and slowly, and notice here the Queen of Swords. Now, isn't that an interesting turn up for the books there? Gemini and Libra and whatever going on there. What's this? Swords, again, another major arcana energy, so you will still have power to change it in the future. You had power to change it in the recent past, you have power to change things now, and you have power to change it in the immediate future. The power is in your hands, as you would say. The Queen, yes, is the watery part of air, because swords is the element of air, creative and transmissive powers. And the Queen, as you know, is the water, so water, mental and moral qualities. Mental and moral qualities of creative and transmissive powers, as if when you communicate from a moral standpoint, or a grounded, pragmatic standpoint. You've stood your ground and you're tolerating it now, but of course worms can turn if you tread on them enough. In this particular case, the Queen represents, the Queen of Swords is more of an elusive character, more of keeping a low profile, hoping it'll go away maybe. That's the sort of thing we're getting here. Mythical, maybe, in the sense of where am I sort of thinking that you may sort of try and give them the impression as though it may not last so well, don't worry about it, it might never last, and we might split up and you can find somebody else for your father. But I will remain elusive, I'll remain in the background until this calms down, which will it or not. I will tolerate it, or is it him that's tolerating them, or you, or the situation, what is it? But either way, you will become, I wouldn't say shy, timid, or emotionally challenged. No, your communications will be more a moral standpoint, and you'll sort of keep in the background, make sure you can see them but they can't see you. And maybe it may come a period, I sense a sort of time period where between now and this time next month, maybe you'll be meeting their father, as you would say, on neutral territory, and then he goes home to them at night or whatever, just for a while. Maybe we just try to just apart until you can work out what's going on with them, because I can't tolerate living like this. I can't tolerate this unless you sort something out. And that, of course, depends upon whether you've got somewhere else to go. Maybe you feel by doing that, probably for a few days or nights or whatever it is, to sort of scare them into thinking that you can do it and you will do it, and your father's left with nobody, and then what the fuck? In the sense that you could seriously say to him, I'm going to have to just step out for a while, and maybe just put the EBGBs up him and frighten him to prove to him that you will do it. You'll stand your ground like you did before. See the link? And yes, you can tolerate, yes, but nevertheless, you can show compassion and understanding. You can understand why they behave the way they do, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to approve of it. You can understand, but it doesn't mean you have to approve of it. And that means you can deliberately take a low profile, because I don't need this. Life is too short. And this can't go on other than that. And I can prove to you that I can walk. and I will. And I can come back, just like I can choose to walk away. I can choose to come back when something is sorted out, but I cannot sort it out myself. And maybe you need the backbone, maybe you haven't had the backbone yet to do that. You've got the backbone to stand your ground on from a verbal point of view, an argument point of view or whatever, but nevertheless maybe that's what it is. Maybe you're a bit of a soft touch. And for as much as you stood your ground before and you felt you had a victory from that, nevertheless, for as much as the triumph did come, nevertheless now you're having to tolerate it and put up with it. And should you have to put up with it, are you worth more than that? Are you tolerating it, and will you become elusive and just sit in the background and be seen, not heard, like the naughty girl that you are perceived to be? Just to appease them? Or will you remain elusive in the sense you will hide away and go somewhere so they don't know where you are, and put the heebie-jeebies up them and just to say, yes, I can do this and I will do it. The crow will give me that strength and carry me through that darkness. And if the light at the other side is to remain here, then it will be. If it isn't. But whatever magic is working here, Crow is king. As we cast a shadow, for now, Kimberly, these cards have spoken.